Welcome back to Queen's Mindset. If this is your first time joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are super excited to have you in the room, guys. This is season 3. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? Listen, I am super excited to have another powerful woman in the studio here tonight to share her story with you. I can't wait because you know it keeps getting better and better and better and better. But before we go any further, if you have not done it already, I want you to go right ahead. Hit that subscribe button just down below and make sure that you are subscribed to our channel to be kept abreast of all our videos. Guys, let's just head into it. Welcome, Leonette. How are you? Welcome to Queen's Mindset.
Thanks for having me. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I am fabulous. Listen, before I know everybody's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear her story. But before you start sharing your story, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Lloylette Stewart-Russell. I was born and raised in Old Harbor Bay, St. Catherine in Jamaica. I'm a mother of two beautiful girls, ages 16 and 10. I'm a wife to a lovely husband. Um, Currently, I'm a manager at a wholesale and meat grocery store, Water Price Groceries in Old Harbor. And I'm also a trained speaker, a Christian life coach, and I'm also a trained customer service rep. Yeah,
Wow,
so
you do.
that's just a little about me.
And she said a little, you do quite a lot. And I have to ask this question that I ask every woman on the show. Where do you find the
Ooh,
time?
that's it. Time is limited, but we have to put the time in. Yeah, I try. I
Yes,
try.
I'm like, wow, 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 wow. Okay, so you have a very, 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 very powerful story, and I want you to start sharing your story with us by starting from the beginning. I want you to tell us how it began for you.
Okay, no problem. All right, so I am the eldest of four children. Four currently alive, one died. I grew up with my mommy and daddy, so we grew up in a nuclear home with my siblings. Um, Attending high school, well, when I transitioned from primary to high school, being the eldest of those kids, I had to take on the mother role when mommy went to work and daddy went to work. So I had to come in from school, and it was a joy for me because I had to, mold my younger siblings, because mommy and daddy's not there and I'm the eldest one. So it was fun for me. We were living in a scheme in Old Harbor Bay. Um, I was really the way I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to do certain things in terms of, persons would be on the road. I wasn't allowed to do that. But, it was great. I had friends next door and we would go out on the road in the evenings to play. In Jamaica, we have like ring games called, we play ring games. We have a game that is called Battered, Stocky and Sightings and Chinese Skip and, all of those good stuff. But because I wasn't allowed to go out on the road, I always look to see if mommy and daddy is coming, and then, when we see them coming now, we'll run back inside. But it was fun though, we had a lot of fun growing up. And also to, transitioning now, we're in our teenage years, it's about, 13 years old, we started talking, when we grow up, what we're gonna do. I never thought about marriage though, but hey, I never thought about marriage. But I mean, we would say, well, when I grow up, I'm going to be an accountant. I'm going to have this big house. And, my best friend at the time, we were saying that we're going to build a house together. And she lives on one side and I'll be living on the other side. And, we just planned out what we're going to do. But at maybe about 14 years old, things started changing for me. I became a bit withdrawn due to the fact that my home became broken. I never grew up in a home where it was a home, but I grew up with both parents and it became somewhat toxic. And I've witnessed certain things, the abuse,
Mhm.
and I became withdrawn. And that's where everything started going downhill for me. At that age, I knew then that was a life I didn't want for me at that age. So when I became withdrawn, it was due to the fact that I was being verbally abused and emotionally abused. And I became very withdrawn. My happiest times at that time was being out of the house, being at school around my peers. Nobody knew what was happening because we weren't cultured the way, you know, I would say nowadays we culture our children to have a voice to speak or what is happening to you. I wasn't cultured like that. I was cultured, to tell people your business and all of these things. So I internalized everything. And boy, I tell you, that was a hard task for me. So going up my teenage years now, I the pressures of, you know, started coming down on me. As I said before, I was left with the responsibilities to raise my younger siblings. No, it was good. I enjoyed it because it had taught me a lot of things. Because one thing with Jamaican parents, if you can do something, so you had to learn to clean the house, you have to learn to cook, you have to learn to do all of these things. And that was fine for me. I enjoyed doing all of that. But I wasn't given the attention. I wasn't getting the love. I wasn't getting any of that from, especially my father. We didn't really have a good relationship though. If we were living together, it was as if I was afraid of my father. I didn't sit and have a conversation with him, you know. And I would oftentimes say, but being at school, it's report day, parents are coming in. My mom is always there, she come at school because she show up at school, whether I know it or not, she's at school. All I would hear persons used to call me, Stewie, your mommy is there. And when I was like, oh, mommy, you're here, but you didn't tell me you're coming today. She said, okay, then. This is how my mom, that was how my mommy operates. And she would have talked to all my teachers already, and that was fine. But somewhere I was lacking the fatherly love. And I never got that. Instead of things getting better, it got worse. I I look at myself as being the black sheep of the family. I never got certain privilege that my other sibling got, my sister that, she followed me, the second one to me. I never got that privilege. And then it became so heavy for me as a child. I was not being heard. I just could not understand what was happening because, we're in the house together. I'm your child, but why am I not getting the same treatment as the others? And that made me feel away. But I wear a mask just for persons not to see what was happening. I did not share anything with anybody at school or anything. I just went to school and be all. When it was time for me to come home, I didn't want to be home. I really didn't want to be home. So I can't do anything because as I said, I wasn't cultured the way to express myself, to say, oh, this is how I feel, and what have you. So I kept it bottled up inside and it became very, very heavy for me. I cried a lot and I just did not share it. And I do not use the word friend very lightly. I place high value on the word friend, you
Mhm.
know. So I really didn't say anything because, you're a child, you're in school, you don't want to feel ashamed and person go, whisper about you and all of these things. So I didn't say anything to anybody. I just went through and I pretended as everything was okay when I was at school. I'm all jolly. They used to call me the class mommy.
Wow.
They used to say class mother because I'm like that. I was raised like that. No, I was raised to take care of everybody else. But then what about me? So when I reached, I graduated from my school and then I went back to school. I never went to college. I went to this institution. It's called Management Institute for National Development in Kingston, Jamaica. So
Mhm.
that's where I got trained in being a customer service and I did my computing there and I did very well
Mhm.
and all that. Being at home now, when I got my first job, I was working in a pharmacy named Pharmacy, and it was a joy for me to come out of the yard, because I am now almost 19 years old.
Mm.
So I feel good and all of these things and all of it. But as I said, it got really toxic. It went downhill. And I remember when I reached 19 years old, Daddy and I, we always have our back and forth. I never used to answer.
Mm.
Just let him talk and say all of these things. Oh, he used to call me, oh, your face big, you had a big face, girl. And I just could not understand. I was told, oh, come to nothing. And it
Wow.
was just so hurtful. And I used to cry. I never said anything. I just cried my eyes out. So at the age of 19 now,
Mhm.
it was one night. I was at home. I'm always washing. I cook, I'm really domesticated because, as I said, that is how I was raised. And I cook and all of these things having cooked from a tender age. And at the time, I'm the best cook, but I can help myself. So yeah. So I remember it was a Thursday night, like no. Thursday night, like no. Daddy and I, we always go back and forth, and he was always saying one thing. He was always saying to me, "Oh, you gotta come out of my house," and it was like, one day me go come out, one day me come out, and that Thursday night, things took a turn. Well, before that, I was talking to this young man. We met in school when I was about 13, but when I almost left school, we began a relationship and stuff.
Mhm.
It really didn't last it for long, but I thought at that period of time, that was a window of escape for me. Because I remember one night, he was going out with some friends. He was going to the country. And he said, "You want to come?" I said, "Yes." I know I could not say, I was not honest with them because I know I could not say, "Oh, I'm going here," because I wasn't allowed, as I said, to do certain things. I wasn't allowed to even socialize with the opposite sex. If I did, it was like, "Oh, Yanim in a things," and all of these things. So that night he said, "You want to come?" And I said, "Yes." And of course I told a lie and I went with him. And I felt so good being out of the house. You know what I mean? I felt so good. And we went to country and we came back. It was very late, to be honest. And they
Wow.
kept calling me. And at one point I just stopped answering the phone.
Wow.
I just stopped answering the phone because it's just annoying and I know that I'm going home. I'm gonna get the cousin, but hey, at least I had a little peace of mind.
Mhm.
So it's okay. Give me the cousin. I'll be fine.
Mm.
So that period of time and the young man and I, we broke up. In that time, my husband know, that's another story.
Oh,
My
dear.
husband know we started, talking and I explained everything. I just poured out everything to him that I was going through. I stopped eating at home because of the stuff that was said, oh, may lift my height up and all of these things. And I just could not understand, why would you tell your child that? So I stopped eating at home and he would always be there to take things from me. But that particular Thursday night, I remember I had cleaned the day, I had washed and I had cooked.
Mhm.
So after dinner now, we always do the dishes overnight as well. We don't sleep with the dishes till the other days. So
Mhm.
I said to my sister, okay, it's your night to wash the dishes.
Mhm.
She was like, oh, I have school and, I am studying and what have you. And it was really annoying, to be honest with you. It was really annoying because I don't understand. I did everything. And just for you to clean up
Yeah.
the plates after dinner, it was a problem. And I remember my father came into my room and he was like, oh, you need to do the dishes. And if you don't do them, whatever I'm going to do to you. And I was like, I'm not doing them. So I started rebelling. In
Mhm.
a sense, I started rebelling because I just could not understand. And then it just dawned on me, you don't like me, you
Mhm.
don't like me. So I said, I did I did everything. I cooked and cleaned. So what is it if you just tidy up the kitchen? And boy, it went downhill.
Wow.
And he started and he started and he started and he cursed and I started crying because my eye was at the very near, because I don't like people to talk to me loud and all of those stuff. I'm easy to shame.
Mhm.
I'm easy to
How
get
old, how old were
shame.
you at
So
the time? How old were
at
you
the
at the
time, at the time I was 19 years old,
time?
19.
Mhm.
So I decided that I wasn't going to do the dishes. I was adamant that I am not doing the dishes tonight. I'm really not going to do it. Which it went downhill and it was like, oh, you go come out of my house. And I made up my mind that night. And I said, okay, fine. I'm going to leave.
Mm.
And I had a friend next door and he said to me, call my boyfriend at the time. He said, call on you. Who's my husband now? And he said, call him. And I said, I'm calling him. I'm
Mm.
sleeping right in here tonight. This is where I'm sleeping tonight. This is where I'm
Mm.
sleeping. And I didn't sleep comfortable because I was watching if he was going to do anything. And I slept. And I normally go away on the weekends, with
Mhm.
with my boyfriend, with my husband now.
Mhm.
And the Friday I got up early and I did everything. I did everything because I've made up in my mind. This is it. I am leaving. I
Mhm.
am tired.
Mhm.
Why, as a child, I have to be wearing all of this? I
Mhm.
made up in my mind. That's it for me. So I did everything. I woke up early the Friday morning and
Mhm.
I did everything that I was supposed to do. And when it reached about 1 o'clock, I called to say, you can pick me up. No, what I did was,
Mhm.
mommy was asleep and the kids were at school.
Mhm.
So what I did, I just put my clothes in some scandal bag. I packed my clothes in scandal bags
Mhm.
and I called and I said, I'm ready. And when he came, he said, why you tell me to buy a bag? I said, that's okay. I just wanted to get away. I
Mhm.
really wanted to get away. Not that it was something I was ready to do to live with a man,
Mhm.
but it was just too much for me. So
Mhm.
I left that Friday evening and
Mhm.
I said nothing to anyone that I wasn't coming back.
Mhm.
And it was when my mother called me in the night. She was asking me to take something for her, and I said, I'm not coming back there. And she was like, what do you mean? So I said to her, I'm not coming back.
Wow.
And I moved out.
Mhm.
And I remember that was a Friday. And I remember the Monday my father called me to say, oh, be careful what you're doing. And I said, I don't need you to tell me that.
Mm.
I really don't need you to tell me that. At this point, I've made up my mind, whatever it is, because if my own is treating me like that, then a stranger can do the same.
Mhm.
And this was a person I barely knew anything about because I met him like we started an official relationship
Mhm.
the 18th of August. And practically by the September, I was living with it.
Wow.
I
Mhm.
was,
And he
I
lived alone.
was, pardon?
He had lived alone.
He was living alone, but he's 15 years older than I am.
Ah. Okay.
I just wanted to get away. It was just too much. So that was 2004.
Mhm.
And, it wasn't easy to be honest, because I remember getting up every 3 o'clock, every morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, I would get up and cry. Because I just couldn't believe that this was really my life. This is not
Mhm.
what you planned.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, so I remember getting up every 3 o'clock every morning and crying. He would say, why are you crying though? And I started telling him some of the things that my daddy has said to me. And I remember he said to me,
Mhm.
all that they have said that is going to happen to you, I'm going to prove them wrong.
Mm.
I am going to prove them wrong. But listen though, it wasn't that easy for me because I was so scarred. And remember, I was fresh out of a relationship. I didn't take time to heal. I just straight into
Mhm.
that one because I just
Mhm.
wanted to get away.
Mhm.
So it took me some time. Listen, I beat up on myself. I did not love myself. I just could not see the good in me because if you, who is my father, who is supposed to be protecting me, you're telling me
Mhm.
all of these things, then I started believing all of those things, especially when I failed at something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to fail. I tried to be
Yeah.
perfect. I tried to do everything just to please them because, I just want to look good in his eyes for him to see the
Mhm.
good in me. But that was just not forthcoming. I
Yeah.
never got that. So it took me a little time. And my husband now, he was always saying, you can do this. Don't give anybody that power. Don't make nobody, tell us say you can't do this or that. You don't give anybody that power. You don't do that. But I just could not understand that part of it. And it took me years.
Mm,
In 2000 now, leading up to, we always have some problem because, I don't know how to trust. I
mm,
really don't know how to love. I did not know how to reciprocate the love from him.
yeah.
So it was always problem there because I just don't know how to deal with it. I just don't know. And it's like there was just this wall that I put up because I was just afraid of getting hurt because what I've seen my mother gone through just the same. And she stayed with my father and all of these things. I was just afraid. So I put up this wall. And
Mm-hmm.
it took me a time. And we were always having problem, but let me tell you that my husband, I said he's a God sent. Because let me tell you something, he never stopped. He never gave up on me when I just could not understand what this man saw in me.
Mm,
I really just could not understand because he never gave up on me. He was always, anything you want to do, I'll support you. You can do this. And he
mm-hmm.
never let me down. We have, and I don't want persons to feel like it's all peachy and all of that. We do have ups and downs in our relationship, but I've
Mm-hmm.
grown now and I learned how to handle it and how to, really express myself because I never did that. So internalizing everything was my way or my
Mm-hmm.
escape
Yeah.
out of a situation. You understand? But he had taught me that, hey, no, you have a voice. You need to use your voice. You don't give people those power.
Mm-hmm.
So we were there in the relationship. 2 years into the relationship, I got pregnant with my first child.
Mm-hmm.
No, I quickly have to learn that, hey, you're going to be a mother. You're going to be responsible for somebody other than yourself. So whether you like it or not, you're going to have to learn all of these things. You need to learn to express yourself because you're going to have another human being who is depending on you to teach her the way how to live and teach her the way of life. You can't leave that to somebody else outside because you're her first teacher.
Yeah.
And that's when my self-love journey started. No, I, when she was born, then the Lord decided that he was going to give me some other challenges because she was born premature because she was supposed to born October.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she came July.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. That gave me extra stress. So I had to be back and forth at the hospital, back and forth at the hospital, and all that. She spent
Mm-hmm.
practically 3 months there, came
Wow.
home, and all of that. So, I really had to learn that, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is not about you.
Go ahead.
I was so bitter. I was so resentful. I did not know what is forgiveness,
Mm-hmm.
because I was so bitter.
How
So,
old were you? How
I,
old you were like 12, was like 21, right? You were like 21 when you were
is
pregnant.
that, yes, and then the December I would have turned 22. All
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I had her and smooth sailing because we had to be in and out of the hospital and it was just me and my husband and God himself. Because I decided that I wasn't going to burden anybody or anything like that. So it was us and all of that until she came out. And we were still having that challenge because we had to be back and forth. There was just so many stuff and all of that. And then we found out that she had scoliosis.
Mm-hmm.
And then it dawned on me, no, this is where you really have to do something because you have to teach her
Yeah.
to be, to love herself because she was created this way, you know,
Yeah.
because we know children can be mean when she start going to school. So that sealed the deal for me. And that's where my self-love journey started. 5 years after that,
Mhm.
I gave birth to another girl. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, I have it. I have double. So I need to man up. I need to do this. So
Mhm.
that's when I started. And I was really resentful. I just never want to talk to him. I was so bitter against that man. I was really,
Mm.
really bitter. I was so bitter. And my husband always said, there's going to come a day when you and him are going to talk. You guys are
Mhm.
going to talk. you know. I didn't pay that any mind. I just wanted to do the best as I could as a mother to raise my children and, to give them to set the best example for them, give them the tools that they would need when they're out in the school world, out in the space to understand that, hey, you treat everybody equal and all of these stuff,
Yeah.
you were created by God, He said in his word, we were fearfully and wonderfully made. And I want them to understand what that meant because I never understand what that meant until a couple of years,
Mhm.
into my adulthood.
Mhm. So did you ever
So
back? Did you ever go back home? Even to
I used to, I used to visit,
Mhm.
and even that was a problem. I remember one Sunday evening, I said, I'm going to go and look for mommy and daddy, I'm going to look for my siblings. So I went there the Sunday evening and he was like, what are you doing here? And I was like,
Wow.
seriously, I mean, I was so embarrassed. I left
Mm.
and I didn't go back there for years. And
Mm.
even when I had my child, he said, oh, trying to carry her, come here, and all of these things. And I did not. I
Mm.
did not take her there. I did not take her there. And there was this lady, because I always gravitate to older folks. And she came to me and she said, listen, don't matter what I'm saying, I'm grandchild, carry her there, take her there. That's how I went. And I took, and even when I went there, it's like he didn't want to pay her any mind, you know. But I still let her stay. And being pregnant with my other child, I remember one Friday evening, I sent her down there, because she didn't have school.
Mhm.
It was after school. So I sent her to spend the afternoon with them. And I got a call to say, oh, my daughter fell and burst her forehead. And I quickly went down there and he was like, you know, that's the first time I saw him care. That's the first time I saw him cared because he was really upset and all of that. And that happened the 4th of November 2011. And by the Saturday, I went into the hospital to give birth to my other daughter.
Mhm.
So I knew all of that stress center. But that one was good and all of that. I tried to talk to him on several occasions and it never worked out. But hey, I still do what I had to do. And it went on from there. No, I didn't thought I was a person to get married
Mm.
because my husband and I we have been together. This year is going to be 18 years together.
18 years. Wow.
18 years.
So
And
that what?
I
How old
remember,
were you when you got married?
oh, what was I? 6 years ago, I was what? I don't even remember. But I got married maybe about 32.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
next month, the 23rd of next month, will be 6 years since we got
Okay.
married,
That's mine.
right? Yeah. So I never thought, but I said no at first
Wow.
because I knew I had I was broken. I had a lot of baggages. I had a lot of things I had to unpack.
Mhm.
Because remember, I never got a chance to heal.
Mhm.
I never got a chance to process anything. I just went. And I knew that I was in a place where the least little thing, it gets me upset. I used to
Mhm.
argue for everything. And at one point, I felt I was saying to him, I'm not good enough for you, and that gets him really upset. Like, why are you saying that?
Yeah.
Why are you saying that? And then I knew that, hey, I had to work on me in order to be good to somebody else. So that's the
Mhm.
reason
That's
for
right.
me saying, yeah. So that's the reason for me saying no. And it wasn't no, as in I'm not going to ever do it. It's just that no, I'm not ready at this moment. I need to work on me in order to be
Mhm.
good to you. You understand? So that's what I did. Hence, we got married in 2016.
Mhm.
When I was gonna get married, I called him
Mhm.
and I said to him, Daddy, I'm gonna get married. And he was like, yeah, man, yeah, man. Because that's how he is.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's how he So it was like, yeah, man, yeah, man. But I expected differently, like, well, my first child, and this is gonna happen and all of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, whatever. No, mind you, my mommy, she suffers mentally. She has mental, issues where it affects her really bad.
Mm.
So it was at one point where we were at it because she was like, "Oh, I should be planning your wedding." And it was like, I wanted to do this by myself because I'm used to I had to do it for me. I had to save myself. Nobody was coming to
Mhm.
save me. Nobody saw that I was drowning,
Mhm.
So I am accustomed to doing the things for myself. So
Mhm.
I wasn't having it. And it was like they were beating down on me. And we got into an argument and she was like, whatever. And she cursed and it wasn't nice. But I just felt like I needed to do it for myself, because I had to be my own rescue. Nobody was coming to save me.
Mhm.
Even when I was hanging on a thin thread, I saw nobody, you know?
Wow.
And I did all of that. We got married. None of them came anyway. It bothered me at first, but then hey, I got over it.
Mm. You
And
mean
then
neither your mom or your dad showed up for the wedding and they were invited?
none of them came.
What about your siblings? They came?
Yeah, they came.
Okay.
Yeah, man, they came because they're always in my corner, because
Mhm.
they call me their mommy,
Mhm.
right? So they came, but mommy and daddy never came. And of course, as I said, she had mental issues. So I kind of understand with her because
Yeah.
she has a form of schizophrenia.
Mhm.
So I kind of understand with her. But my daddy never came. And it bothered me at first, but then hey, I was fine because I reached thus far without him. So I was okay. And yeah, that's how I got here. That's
So
how
how
I
is
got here.
your relationship now? How is it?
Well, my relation, no, we still talk, but listen, you see my father, it's his way or no way at all.
Mm.
You understand? And in their eyes, I think they see you as still a child, even though you're an adult, you're still a child in their eyes.
Mhm.
So I just know that, hey, this is what I use. I look at it. I will say to you that this is it, and you're saying, no, this is it, and this is what I say, and whatever. So I just look at it at, hey, they did, they did the best they could, or the best they knew how to raise a child.
Mhm.
You understand? Because to be true, and in fact, we don't have a manual of parenting, you know.
Mhm.
And if he believes that his way is the best way, then I can tell him that it's not. That's how he sees it. So I just comfort myself knowing that, hey, he did the best he could, but his ways, is hard and fast, holding to what he believes is right. And whatever he says, that's it. So I don't try to fight him down. I just let it be. I just know that I'll call him. And I live to see my daddy calling me to say, hey, this is it. And he was like telling me stuff. And I was like, okay, then is that really my father? So it's in a better space now, but it was really I was left with some wounds. I was left with bruises. I just didn't know that I was gonna make it over that hurdle. I didn't know what next. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know where my life was gonna end up. And yeah, I just work it through that, and
So
each day I just
how did you get over it?
all right. So for me, I did a lot of self-searching,
Mm.
honestly to God, because at one point my nose was an issue to me. I was afraid to look into the mirror. And not because, I hate who God created, but because of the persons around me and what was said.
Mhm.
I was just afraid to look into the mirror. And then at one point, me like, oh, my nose big.
Mm.
I was afraid to look into the mirror because, I really didn't know who I was. I don't know my identity or anything like that. So what I did, I really did some self-searching. I was always praying because I remember at 12 I got baptized and all of that. Things happen along the way, but I still never leave out God. I've always been praying and stuff like that. So I remember Those are I call those my valley moments.
Mhm.
I prayed and I searched myself. What is it that I don't have? Why is it that I'm not good enough? Why am not system good to it? I just searched myself and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. But I thought I was forgiven though. I told myself that I'd forgiven him. I'm saying I prayed and I left it at that. But it turned out that I had never fully forgiven him. And that's when I met Crystal Day. Because I just felt like I wanted to do something. I just wanted to do something in my life, but it wasn't leading me to be in the loans anymore. I wanted to do something. And then I remember searching one day to say, hey, let me see if I can do, some hosting events thing. And I saw Sally Ann. That's when I saw Sally Ann. I said, oh, I must speak. And then, I'd enroll in her class. And I was like, yes, I'm gonna do this and whatever. But when the appointed time came, I felt like, okay, then I'm not gonna bother with this because I am not fit for this. This is not me. I am not good enough to do this. There I go again, going back. And then she called me one day to say to me, the day she said to me, no, Lloylette, you have to do this. No, I don't know this lady. She don't know me. And she said, no, you have to do this. And I was like, but some things had gone wrong in the week. So, the money used up and all of that. She said, I'll wait on you. And I was like, you'll wait on me? She said, I'll extend the due date because you have to do this. And I did that speaking course. And I sat on that certificate for how long. I never use it. I do. I did not use it until this day. I don't use. And then I remember she having another event and I went and that's how I met Crystal. And I was just writing. I was writing away. I was writing away because I found out that I was depressed. And I was writing, writing, writing. And then I say, a book. And that's how she came up with me. So, okay, then let me do a book. But my title of the book was Be the Parent You Never Had, you know? And when I told her and I met with her, she was like, and I was telling her, she said no. And I explained everything to her and I just broke down. I just broke down. She was saying, you are not healed as it. You need to forgive. I said, but me forgive him. She said, mm-mm. And I went back on my knees. I went back on my knees. And, truth be told, we learned some stuff about ourselves that cause us to feel scared. And I think that was what happened to me. I didn't want to get hurt. So I was kind of, protecting myself from getting back, from getting hurt again and being where I was. I wanted to forget about it and, just erase the past and all of that. But then I quickly learned that, hey, your past is what is going to mold you into who you are going to be in the future.
Mm.
And of course, me never like that, but hey, I had to hold on to it. And that's when the Lord said to me, break free from the prisoner within you. And I was like, okay, then. And then I found out that my prisoners were all my bitterness, all my unforgiveness, letting go, choosing me. It is okay to choose you, but how do I choose me?
Mhm.
How do I choose So I learned all of those things. You need to affirm yourself. Tell yourself that, hey, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Me tell you something make you good. No matter what anybody else say, you're fearfully and wonderfully made.
Mm.
Why would you let persons cripple you? I have a job for you. I've given you a voice. You need to use it. I just did not understand all of those stuff.
Wow.
But then I went back to the drawing board. And let me tell you, Crystal, I give God thanks for every day. I give God thanks to that young lady every day. And this is how I can talk. I never talk about my story. I never shared it because I felt so ashamed, the stigma that will surround certain things and certain things that would be said and all of these things. I just never shared it. And I never thought it had any substance. But then I remember I was talking to this lady and she said, "Oh, you're so brave." I was like, "Brave? That's not me. No, 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 no. That's not me. Brave? Far from me." And she's saying, "You're so confident." Me say, "Where, miss? Look again. That's not me at all. Mm-mm. Me? If you said to me, say, oh, take the mic, me start eyed. I am not brave. I'm not confident." But then they saw something in me and they were saying, "You look like a teacher. Tell me what you do." And then they'll come to me and they're older folks.
Mhm,
Don't forget that part, they're older than I am. And
mhm,
they'll come and they'll say, I'm struggling with this. And I would say, listen. And I start talking, you have to put yourself first. You have to remember, God created you for a purpose. And I will be just talking away. I said, sometimes when I catch up on myself, I say, it's really you, Lloylette, who's telling somebody that. And I
mhm,
was like, Father, I thank you. Mighty long way I have come, you
mhm,
know?
mhm,
So over the years, and my husband would say to me, listen, stop shying away. You can do this. Stop telling yourself that. Why are you doubting yourself? Don't do that. And then these two young ladies, I remember just talking to them, they have problems. And they just come to me and they say, listen, let me say this to you. What do you think? And she said, I'm going to act on that. And let me tell you something. That young lady, she started her business. She said, the words that you said to me caused me to start my business. I was like, okay, God, what are you doing now? Tell
mhm.
me what you say.
Wow.
Just let me do what you're saying. I'll
Wow.
be obedient. I'm not going to say that it is easy because sometimes, few times I wanted, but I had said, coaching, who can I coach? This is not for me. And every time I want to throw in the towel, God present me with a situation.
Wow. But I know we're running out of time, but before we close off, I want you to, say to that woman out there who might be watching us here tonight, I want you to give advice to that person who's in a similar space that you were in. What would be your advice to someone who is going through what you went through?
Well, my advice would be listen, you have to believe in yourself.
Mhm,
You first have to believe in yourself. It's not what man says, is who God created you to be and is what he says you are. It's not what men say. Because to be honest with you, if I never rescued myself, understanding that, hey, you have to choose you, I had to choose me. If I never said, okay, my first point of healing is forgiving and letting go,
mhm,
then I don't know what would have happened. I just say, okay, it's me.
mhm,
It's me. Doesn't matter what they have said and they are going to say about me, choose you and let God do the rest. You understand? You have to understand that, hey, you are created for more. You have a purpose and your past will mold you into the future or to be who God called you to be in the future. I run away from my past so many times, but this is why I'm able to sit here tonight to talk to you. My past has molded me here. Hence, why I'm on a journey to help young girls and women who have been in similar situation to me, to help them to build their self-esteem, because self-esteem is within you,
mhm,
and then the confidence will come out. So we have to work on our inward self first, and then it will protrude on the outside. So I'm here to tell you, all hope is not lost. Just work on you. And if there's always somebody in your corner. Even when you think there's nobody there, somebody is there.
mhm,
Somebody is there. So hold fast, and this too shall pass. Just remember that the good book told us in the scripture that, hey, you're fearfully and wonderfully made,
mhm.
and all things work together for the good of them that loves the Lord.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Well said. Well said. Listen, guys, you heard it here. I hope you were taking notes. I really hope you were. So, Leonette, tell me what is up next for you? What are you working on? And where can we find you?
Well, I'm also an aspiring author.
Mhm.
So I'm currently working on a book. I'm currently working
Okay.
on yeah, a
Mhm.
self-esteem book. And I have also started writing Free from the Prisoner Within You book. So you can find me on Instagram at Lloylette Stewart-Russell, also on Facebook, Lloylette Freeman Stewart-Russell, and on TikTok, Loy Proud. And I've posted some little things with Crystal saying, oh, you need to come out more. So you'll start seeing me doing that so because I really want to impact some lives, especially our young girls. I want them to know that, hey, you are made for more. You are enough.
Mhm. Well said. So I really want to thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. We definitely enjoyed it. I am very sure that some woman who is watching right now, something about your story just, just gave them some hope, some encouragement, and they have been reminded that you are going to make it and you will get through this. So I just want to thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. And
You're
to you
welcome.
guys, thank you so much for coming out once again and joining us here tonight. Thank you for tuning in. If you have not done it as yet, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and like this video, comment down below, and make sure that you have subscribed to this channel. And of course, make sure you share this link with a friend. Do not assume that they may not be interested because we don't know. So we send it to everyone and let everyone get an opportunity to be able to hear and to see so that their lives too as well can be blessed by something that was said here tonight. So guys, thank you so much again for tuning in and we'll see you on our next episode. Have a good night, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.